with an X-Men. And Colossus is swinging a bat, and on his shirt it says QS 5:51, which is a direct
quote from the Quran.
Quote from the Quran. And I'm gonna pull this up real quick because this is obviously from the second book of the Quran, and I'm not going to get into religious history or books or anything like that. But
that's a
the second
podcast.
book, yeah, it's a different podcast. The second book is a lot more
murdery.
No, it's just more.
Is it like the reverse of the Christian book, where
yes,
where the Old Testament is like really, a lot of genocide, a lot of rape, a lot of murder.
Well, the Quran is built
and then
upon.
The New Testament is like love everyone.
No, it's not. But it's. I know what you mean. Comparatively speaking, yes. But verse 51, "Oh, you have believed, do not take the Jews and the Christians as allies. They are in fact allies of one another." And I'm going to pull it up. So this is exactly what it... Oh, I can't read that. Okay, here it is. It was in Arabic.
Oh, what? You can't read Arabic?
No, not... I can work my way through it, but no, I can't really. It says, "Oh, Quran 5:51, the second book of the Quran, is, "Oh, who have believed, do not take the Jews and the Christians as allies. They are, in fact, allies of one another." So meaning that the Christians and the Jews are allies of each other. "And whoever is an ally to them among you, then indeed he is one of them. Indeed, Allah guides not the wrongdoing people." So here's the thing about Islam and the Muslim faith, is that when the Jews had Jesus killed by Pontius Pilate, through force of whatever that they forced Pontius Pilate to basically crucify Christ, when Muhammad founded Islam, 300 years later or whatever, 600 years later or whatever it is, one of the big enemies of the Muslim people were people that had multiple gods. Okay,
polytheists.
Polytheists, and so they still valued and respected Christ as a prophet. Mm-hmm. So they still followed Christ in a way because they built upon the Bible and the New Testament, Old Testament, and the Quran, the three books, and they respected everybody that was a follower of the book. So when this is, anyway, long story short, it's very aggressive in tone. That if you are a friend of Jews, even if you're a Christian, then you are an enemy because you're a friend of the Jews. And so that's what that's in reference to. Should not have been in a comic book. It's absolutely ludicrous that it's in there. And I'm not really sure how it got past editorial.
They probably had no idea what it was until it hit the shelves and someone researched it and found out what it was. But the penciler is Ardian Syaf. And yeah, so
he said it was in respect to Libya and some of the movements that are going on in Libya and things like that now. But there's another one too that's above Kitty's head that's like Q221 or something like that.
Yeah, he has just like Quran quotes and stuff like strewn throughout the book, and even G. Willow Wilson, who is a converted Muslim, and she's the one who's currently writing Ms. Marvel. She even had some things to say about Syaf that weren't nice. So I don't think this guy is going to have... I would not be shocked if there was a new artist on this x-mengold book by the next issue, or even the issue after that. But other than that controversy, the book itself, not bad. It kind of, it kept my attention. It had some light humor in it, like especially like Wolverine would. Somebody show because the
was it Old Man Logan Wolverine?
It's Old Man Logan Wolverine because Laura Kinney is not a part of Gold or Blue.
Yeah.
So it's Old Man Logan Wolverine, and I guess through the events of Inhumans versus X-Men, the Xavier Manor has now been transported from where it was into the middle of Central Park. And a guy from the city of New York shows up with a statement about their, I guess, rent is an easier way to put it. And Kitty's reading it, bug-eyed, and she said, "This is $18 million." And Logan just kind of whispers to her, he's like, "Do you want me to claw him?" Which, you know, a little bit of humor, a lot of action. Kitty's awesome.
So is she the leader?
Yes. As of right now, she is the leader. She phased an entire skyscraper.
That's cool.
I mean, that's her power. She can, like, phase through objects.
Yeah.
And at the end, they introduce a new Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. So I think it'll be fun.
Arden Syaf has been relieved of all Marvel
Hey!
duties.
So I was right.
His Facebook page has been taken down.
Ooh.
He actually stated that my career is now over.
Yeah.
He also says it was a message of justice and love.
Sure.
So, whatever, dude.
Yep. Does not have a career with Marvel or probably anyone anymore.
He'll get picked up by some independent comic, I'm sure.
Possibly.
He said, "Hello, worlds. My career is now over. It is the consequence of... It's a consequence what I did, and I take it. Please, no more mockery, debate. No more hate. I hope all in peace. In this last chance, I want to tell you the true meaning of the numbers 212 and QS 551. It is a number of justice. It is a number of love. My love of the Holy Quran. My love to the last prophet, the messenger, the one God. My apologies to all the noise. Goodbye. May God bless you all. I love you all. Arden Syaf." Long story short, if you're a comic artist, it's not the place to make religious
Statements.
statements.
Especially if you're working for Marvel.
Yeah, very true.
Another thing that came out this week was America issue 2. And James...
I'm glad that I stopped on page 1 of the first issue.
Right. And I think I've already said this before on this podcast, but I like America Chavez because of the work that Kieran Gillen did in Young Avengers. And I thought, okay, I'll give this a chance. And one of James's favorite phrases is, "And I'm good forever."
It is.
And I reached that point when, while America was transported to World War II, she punches Hitler in the face, he gets away with some Nazis, and Peggy Carter shows up and says, "You just jeopardized our operation, blah, blah, blah," and then another female agent...
Because America was backing Hitler.
No, because she punched Hitler and she ruined their espionage outlook or whatever.
And America was mad.
And...
Clever pun or talking about the country?
Anyway, then there was another female agent, and she asks Peggy, she's like, "Do you want her to be forcibly removed?" And America Chavez goes, "Try it, Becky." And Agent Carter goes, "That won't be necessary, Agent Good Hair." Referencing Beyonce, Becky with the good hair. After I read that speech bubble, I thought, nope, I'm done. And I'm good forever.
And I'm good forever.
So, yeah, the art is terrible. I don't like Joe Quinones' art.
I said that 3 weeks ago.
And I agreed with you, and as far as I can tell, Gabby Rivera will do nothing for me artistically in her writing. So, yep, that is being removed from my pull list.
Effective immediately.
I'll actually go up to James too and say, "I want this forcibly removed from my pull list."
I would demand a fucking refund.
Right?
But that's just me.
He'd tell you to take it up with Marvel.
Probably. And I would. I will write them a letter. Well, Marvel are... What is his position? I don't remember his position in the company, but there's a guy who has come out publicly and said that he blames Marvel's diversity.
Isn't it Axel Alonso that did that?
I think so. Somebody.
He's the CEO.
Well, I don't know if it was the CEO, but...
Or no, he's editor-in-chief, I'm sorry.
It wasn't him, it was somebody else in the company, but they were blaming diversity for their low comic sales. And it's like, no, it's not the diversity that's the issue, it's the horrible writing. Like the lack of a good story.
That's true.
Using major events and consistently like rewriting the universe.
Yeah, like they just did one thing and now we're moving on. Like they just did Secret Wars 2 months ago?
So okay,
no,
so
Secret Wars was 2015. You're thinking of Civil War 2.
Civil War 2.
Yeah, that's right. They did Secret Wars. And then, like, a month or two later, it was Civil War II.
Both of them ran late. They needed an extra issue, too, to finish them.
And then now we're doing Secret
right.
Empire, which is all about how Captain America is working for Hydra now.
So here's the deal. Okay. So I listen to a lot of podcasts. And one of the podcasts I listen to, we all know.
Yeah.
And I give this guy an increasingly hard time because ever since they had this Marvel Symposium for Retailers type thing, where they had like a big conference call, where it was like Marvel and then like hundreds of retailers around the country were on one conference call. I guess that they made them all sign NDAs, which is non-disclosure agreements.
Okay.
And so they really can't talk about a whole bunch of it. But what's happening is this is the last event for 18 months that Marvel's going to do. It is the Secret Empire stuff. So that's the last major event that Marvel's going to do for 18 months. They're not going to bring anybody back. They're not going to start renumbering at 1. I think that there's like 2 comics that they're going to go back to like retro numbering, which is Venom, I think, is one of them. And they're starting with like Venom 150 or something like that. And there's another one, I'm not really sure what. But whatever happens in Secret Empire will be Marvel for the next 18 months after that.
Okay.
So we're going to get a year and a half without some random number 1s popping up again. But on top of that, in the last year, Marvel has launched 131 new comics, which is a ludicrous amount of comics. They've launched 131 new number 1s.
It's because when sales are shitty for one comic book, they just reboot it.
Yep.
Instead of
just canceling the damn thing.
Yeah. And the other thing is that, like, one of the great examples, and I'll completely rip them off, and I'll thank them in the credits of this episode. One of the greatest things that I heard online this week was the comparison between bringing like Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And comparing that to introducing Batwoman.
What?
Oh, no, listen. So what Marvel does is Marvel just makes up new characters and says, here you go, enjoy. Whereas what DC does is they introduce a character and then they'll give it like a limited run.
Mm-hmm.
If it does well, great. Extend it maybe a couple episodes or a couple issues.
Mm-hmm.
Once it's run its course, end it. And then bring it back in like a team. Like what they've done with Batwoman.
Mm-hmm.
With Detective. And so they gave her own comic with Detective. And Detective did really well, and James Tynion IV has created this mystique around this character of Batwoman. And now she has her own solo run, which apparently, I mean, it's been really good. I've read number 1. I don't know.
I've read the Rebirth one shot and number 1 because I think that's all that's out.
It's a monthly. Yeah, this month should be number 2.
It's good.
So there's 2 different ways of introducing characters. One way is just to drop a brand new number 1, no background, nothing on an entire audience, and say, but it's number 1. Why doesn't it do good? Excuse me. Or you introduce it to the audience, you see how it plays, and then you go from there. And that's what they've done with Batwoman, and Batwoman is going to be wildly successful.
Because they introduced her character in Detective Comics, got feedback from her, and then when they realized people actually want to see more of her, they gave her their own number 1.
Yep.
Which is what they should be doing with some of these fuckers instead of just saying, oh, hey, here we go.
Well, I mean, they tried to do that with, like, Fool Killer and all this shit, but the thing is
they introduced them in Deadpool.
Well, but in Deadpool is such a
Deadpool's
niche...
a duck.
It's such a niche comic right now. I mean, everybody loves it, but adults love it. You're not going to sell Deadpool to a freaking 9-year-old.
No.
I mean, you
shouldn't.
can, but
you probably shouldn't.
I mean, you shouldn't morally.
Right. I mean, 9-year-old comes in and says, I want Deadpool, you're going to be like,
You're like,
whatever.
I don't think so, kid.
But that's the thing, is that that's what Marvel's done, is that they just drop brand new number 1s on people. And they expect for them to do well, and they don't do well, and then they freak out, and then they cut it, and then they release. It's like with Iron Fist and Luke Cage. Luke Cage didn't do well, they cut it, and so now they release Iron Fist and Luke Cage. And then Iron Fist now has his own single title as well, which is fucking amazing.
Yeah, I read the first issue, and it's really, really good. That's what the show should have been.
Yeah, but it wasn't. But
I'm excited. The only thing Marvel's doing that I'm excited for that.